Massimos are castriats, cast a while the dogs and mucky pups, where families thrive. BAILLIESTON Life.
Okay, do you want to introduce yourself?
Right, I am Kirsty.
And Kirsty, this is episode 1 of you and Martin talking about something that you're going through. Without us giving away yet what we're talking about, I wanted to start by asking, what's the first thing that you remember happening to you that made you think there might be something wrong?
I got pins and needles through my full body, but from head to toe. I didn't know what was wrong with me, so I went to the doctor, and they thought it might have been stress related, but that it went on for about 6 weeks, and I went to the hospital, and they sent me for a head scan, but there was still nothing, so that was it then. At that point, there was nothing else at that point.
And how long after that, so after the last hospital appointment to check out the pins and needles, how long after that, if you remember, was it that something else happened that made you go back to the doctors again?
It would have been 22, so about 2 years later, I got another bout of the pins and needles, and the pain as well, and it started different that time. First time it started in my hands, second time it started in my abdomen, and then just worked its way right through my body again. So
pins and needles in your abdomen, and then out. And the first set of tests that they did, what was their conclusion at the end of it? So 2 years ago, when you did all full body pins and needles, what was their conclusion at the end of their testing?
Nothing. They just said they thought it was stress related.
Right.
So that would have been 4 years ago at that point.
Right.
They just thought it was stress related because they couldn't come to a conclusion with it.
So 2 years later, you're back with the same problem, but it starts in a different place in your body. Right. What happens next? What did they do then?
The same sort of thing. They put it down to maybe stress.
Right.
But I had to take time off work because I couldn't go to work. I was in too much pain. And then I went back to the doctor, and it was a doctor I hadn't had before, and he thought it was symptoms. He obviously would have been diagnosed with now, and he said to me he was going to refer me for an MRI scan, which he done. But due to the COVID thing, it took like 2 years later to actually get all the results and blah de blah de blah.
2 years they took it?
Because of the time it took to get the MRI scan done.
Right.
So I got my final diagnosis in January, just gone.
Right.
And I never got my MRI scan to the June last year.
June 2020?
June 2020, but I'd had the symptoms for the year before that. That's when I got referred for the MRI scan.
Wow. So 4 years to diagnose it, basically? Wow.
And then in between that, I had another relapse I didn't know was obviously related to what I've got, and that's when my vision went. I didn't know what that was either.
What do you mean? Explain what the vision meant?
Everything just went blurry.
Right.
I couldn't see properly because
it was like you couldn't focus?
I couldn't focus. Everything was just a blur.
Right.
So my right eye is my bad eye anyway, so I can't really see out of that one properly. But my left eye is the eye that my vision went all blurry in. So I was dead unfocused. I couldn't see it in front of me properly.
Right. And do you, now 4 years in, do you have any symptoms on a daily basis? Right.
So with the relapses that I've had, it's weakened my strength's weakened. I've not got the proper strength, my vision's still no proper. When I mentioned to my neurologist about that, they said it's because when my vision obviously went blurry, whatever it is that happened, it scarred something in the back of my eye. So I get that daily, just the blurriness, and more so in the mornings. I get it, and shocks going up and down like my neck, down my spine when I move my neck.
And what does that do? Like you get a shock, like is it a feeling, or does it make you move, or what does it do?
It's a weird way to try and describe that. It's just like, it's like, see if I had to do that the new, I'm getting it the new doing it. It's just like, it's a weird feeling going right up your spine. It's like a shock. It's like if you were to get like an electric shock sort of feeling, going right up and down your spine.
Wow. And okay, so 4 years in, they've done your MRI scan, they've now diagnosed you. Tell us about that meeting with the doctor when he talked to you about what the result is.
Well, initially I was meant to have a telephone appointment with him, and then he phoned me to say he wanted me to go in to see him. It was actually yourself that took me, and I wasn't expecting that. So he said to me himself, he's like, "You weren't expecting that, were you?" I said, "No."
So tell people what the diagnosis was.
MS.
Right. And can you tell people what that is?
It's I'm sort of still learning myself about everything, but I know it's to do with your immune system being overactive. So instead of your immune system fighting off like infections, it fights itself.
Right.
So it's basically, it attacks my spinal cord and my brain.
Right. And what were the treatment options that you got offered when you got MS?
They offered me, there's a lot of sort of treatment options. It's not to cure it, obviously, because there's no cure for it. It's to try and slow the progression of it, and reduce the relapses. So I got sent out information booklets with all the sort of different treatment options. And I discussed with my neurologist as well, and he advised me what the best ones that he would recommend would be. So I went for one of the ones he recommended after having a wee read through all the details and things like that.
Right, and which one did you choose, and what does it do to you?
I chose cladribine. It's got another name and all, but I can't say it. I chose that. It's basically, it used to be used as a chemotherapy drug, but it's to try and suppress my immune system. Right. So it will reduce, my immune system will reduce, so I can be a wee bit more prone to infections and things like that when I'm taking it. Right. But it's to try and, obviously, because my immune system's overactive, it's just to try and suppress it.
Right. Yeah, but what is it you're actually taking? Like, what was when you described this to me, the physical way that you have to treat the medication?
All right, aye.
How severe it is?
Actually, at that point, mind I said to you, can't crush it or anything like that, it's because there's actually no protective coating on it. Right. So you can't really handle it. My nurse said to me that you have to pop it into a bowl or something, put it in your mouth, but you can't hold it in your mouth either, so you need to swallow it out right away. Right. Because if you do anything like that, it can cause you to it can irritate your mouth and things like that.
Right. Is that why? Did they tell you why does it irritate your mouth?
I think it's because there's no protective coating on it.
But protecting you from what is what I'm trying to get to. What's it protecting you from? Is it radiation? I mean, what, that tablet? Is chemotherapy?
No, it used to be used as a chemotherapy tablet, but it is because it's basically gets used as an immunosuppressant. Because it suppresses the immune system.
I think what that might be is it's because it's so bad for your body. Mm-hmm. Like you can't hold it in your mouth, you can't touch it with your hand, but you're taking that to damage your immune system to slow the progression of a disease that attacks that. Mm-hmm. So that must be like, I don't know what, but amazing. And when are you starting your treatment?
I start it tomorrow. I got them last week, so I start them tomorrow. That's a 5-day course.
Right.
2 tablets a day I have to take.
Right.
And then in 4 weeks' time I get another 5-day course.
Right.
And that's me to next year,
Okay.
where I'll get the same 5 days and then 5 days again.
And what have they, so they've told you to expect that your immune system's been attacked, therefore you'll be prone to infections, like what other advice or did they give you?
Basically just try and... I can't take the tablet basically, see if I take unwell between the day and tomorrow, if I end up with an infection or that, I can't take it, because if I'm unwell then, well, I'm not going to get any better taking it, because it's fighting the immune system, it's suppressing me. So basically there's not really much I can do with it. It's basically just try and be a wee bit careful that I'm not putting myself in situations where I could end up unwell.
Right. So when I asked you this, I said, are you going to be off work when you're taking that? You said,
No,
why not?
I don't want to be.
No, fair enough. But surely part of your management of this disease is not putting yourself at risk. And therefore, the more places you go, the more people you meet, the higher chance that you pick up something that you maybe get exposed to on a daily basis. But under these circumstances, does that not mean it would be better for you to limit where you're going?
Yeah, but I'm working for the house. So because I'm actually not going into the office,
Right, okay, I forgot about that.
aye,
Right.
so I'm not actually going into the office today, and I'm still working for the house just now.
Right. Well, I think that's amazing, and I think you're amazing.
Oh, thanks.
This is episode 1, so episode 2 we'll do after your first course of treatment. See how you feel, see how it's impacting you. Thanks, Kirsty.
No problem, Martin.